He walked into the hotel like he owned the place. Elbows on the counter. Voice loud. "I don't pay fees. Waive it." The receptionist looked at him calmly, like she'd seen it all before. "Sir, the policy applies to everyone." He laughed, certain she'd cave. He didn't. The line behind him grew. People waited. Minutes stretched into silence. By the time he realized no one was moving for him, he understood the truth. Confidence isn't power when nobody answers. And that lesson? It was about to repeat itself over and over, in offices, on streets, in meetings, everywhere he thought he was in charge. Before we dive in, if you enjoy stories about real-life awkward moments, lessons in authority, and situations where confidence meets reality, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what happens next. Trust me, it only gets more intense. Check-in went smoothly, until the American rested his elbows on the counter and said, "We're not doing this." The receptionist glanced at her screen. "Doing what, sir?" He tapped the paper. "This rule. Late checkout fees don't apply to people like us." She smiled, just once. "They apply to everyone." He laughed. "Come on. I stay in hotels every week." "Then you'll recognize the policy," she said as the printer started. His voice rose. "I'm telling you to waive it." The printer finished. She slid the page forward. "That's the policy you agreed to." He scoffed. "So you're choosing rules over service?" She folded her hands. "I'm choosing consistency." He leaned closer. "Get your supervisor." She nodded. "They'll say the same thing." Silence settled in. The line behind him grew. Someone checked her watch. "This is ridiculous," he said louder. She didn't respond. No apology. No eye contact. Minutes passed. A man behind him muttered, "Mate, move." The American spun. "You don't understand." The receptionist finally spoke. "We understand completely. You can accept the fee or step aside." His confidence drained. "Fine," he said quietly. She processed the card without comment. As he moved away, the next guest stepped forward, as if nothing had happened. What hurt wasn't the fee. It was learning that pressure only works when someone chooses to react. The call was already running long when the American executive leaned closer to his camera. "Let's be clear," he said, tapping his desk. "This project is behind. If I don't see results by Friday, people will be held accountable." The British lead didn't interrupt. He waited. Hands folded. "Friday," the American repeated. Not a suggestion. A pause. Long enough to feel deliberate. "I just want to check," the Brit said calmly. "Are you asking or announcing?" The American frowned. "I'm setting expectations." Another pause. "Right," the Brit replied. "Because expectations usually involve consultation." The American snapped back. "In my experience, pressure gets results." The Brit smiled slightly. "In ours, it makes people disengage." Someone muted themselves to hide a cough laugh. "So what's your plan?" the American pressed. The answer came steady. "We'll revisit timelines next quarter." He blinked. "Next quarter?" "Yes," the Brit said. "That's when we renegotiate scope, assuming mutual respect remains intact." Silence. "Are you refusing?" the American asked. "No," came the reply. "We're declining urgency theater." The meeting ended exactly on time. What lingered wasn't the deadline, it was how fast authority vanished. Once no one responded to it. The American skimmed the house rules on his phone and laughed. "Quiet hours? Shoes off. This isn't a monastery." That night, music thumped. A message pinged. "Please lower the volume after 10. He replied, "Relax. It's barely loud." Another message. "House rules apply to everyone." He sent a thumbs up and turned the music higher. In the morning, there was no knock. Just a notification. "Your checkout has been moved to 10 a.m. He frowned. Is this a joke? The host replied once. No? He called. Voicemail. You can't do this, he typed. We paid. A pause. Then? Payment doesn't suspend rules. This is terrible hosting, he wrote. The reply landed clean. This is early checkout. He packed loudly. At the door he typed one word. Refund? 3 dots appeared, then vanished. Outside he reread the message while the app refreshed uselessly. The lock clicked behind him. Final. Indifferent. The regret wasn't leaving early. It was learning that mocking boundaries only works until the boundary enforces itself, without debate. The host was checking her tablet when the American leaned over the stand. We've been waiting long enough. She looked up. You're booked for 8:15. Move us up, he said. We're ready now. We seat by reservation time. His tone sharpened. I write reviews. Very detailed ones. Nearby tables went quiet. Is that a promise? She asked. It's a warning. She nodded once, tapped the screen. Your reservation has been cancelled. He laughed. You can't be serious. I am, she said. So you're punching customers? I'm protecting the room. He gestured around. Look how empty this place is. She glanced past him. Every table was full. We're fully booked, she said. Just not for you. He raised his voice. A diner muttered, Good call. The host folded her hands. Have a good evening. He waited, 1 second too long, for reversal. None came. The next party was seated immediately. The regret wasn't missing dinner. It was realizing leverage disappears the moment you try to weaponize it. Sometimes it isn't the argument that matters. It's the silence that follows. This channel notices those moments, not to exaggerate them, but to observe. What happens when confidence meets indifference? Subscribe, and stay with us. There's more ahead worth noticing. He thought volume was authority, so he raised it. The room didn't flinch. In places like this, power doesn't announce itself. It waits. And when someone tries to dominate the air, the silence responds first. That's when people realize something uncomfortable. Being loud isn't leadership. It's a request. And requests can be ignored. The American wasn't wrong everywhere. Back home, urgency is rewarded. Confidence is interpreted as direction. And pushing harder often means moving faster. But outside that bubble, pressure doesn't translate. It just echoes until it fades. Here, order matters more than ego. And rules aren't obstacles. They're filters. He kept assuming someone would step in. Explain. Negotiate. Smooth it over. They never did. Because when a system works, it doesn't argue with impatience. It absorbs it. And continues without you. What shocked him most wasn't resistance. It was indifference. No outrage. No escalation. No drama. Just continuation. The line moved. The meeting ended. The room carried on, as if his urgency had never arrived at all. That's the real culture shock. Not accents. Not customs. Not even rules. It's discovering that your intensity isn't automatically someone else's emergency. In these moments, entitlement doesn't get punished. It gets bypassed. And bypassing hurts more than confrontation. Because there's nothing to fight. Every time he expected friction, he got stillness. Every time he demanded reaction, he got routine. And slowly it became clear, authority only exists when others agree to recognize it. That's why the silence felt so heavy. Because silence isn't passive. It's selective. It decides what matters and what doesn't. The irony? No one was trying to teach him a lesson. No one wanted to win. They were simply continuing their day without accommodating disruption. And that's when confidence collapses. Not when it's challenged, but when it's ignored. If you've ever wondered why some cultures feel cold or unfriendly, this is why. They don't reward dominance with attention. They reward cooperation with continuity. And once you notice it, you see it everywhere. In queues, in meetings, in cafes, in classrooms. Pressure doesn't accelerate things. It disqualifies you from them. Because here, respect isn't demanded, it's assumed until you prove otherwise. The final realization comes late. Not in anger. Not in embarrassment. But in quiet hindsight. That maybe power isn't about being heard first, but about knowing when silence already answered. An American slid his passport across the counter with a confident smile. "I'm connecting," he said. "Let's keep this quick." The officer didn't return the smile. He scanned the passport. Very carefully, as if it might change its mind. "I'm in a bit of a rush," the American added. The officer looked up. "So is everyone." The American laughed. Friendly now. "I travel all the time. This usually moves faster." The officer nodded politely, then placed the passport face down on the desk. "We'll get to it." Seconds passed. Then a few more. The American shifted his weight, tapped the counter, coughed lightly. Behind him, passengers were processed, stamped, waved through, one after another. Finally, he leaned in. "Is there a problem?" The officer met his eyes. "No." A pause. "Please step aside." "What?" "Step aside, please." He did. Quietly. Looking puzzled, like someone who'd just lost an argument he didn't realize he was having. The line continued without him. The regret wasn't losing time. It was discovering that frequent travel doesn't speed things up. But impatience can slow them down remarkably. An American raised his hand in the classroom, then spoke anyway. "This grading system doesn't make much sense." The lecturer paused. "Yes? In the US, participation counts more," he explained. "This feels unfair." The room waited. The lecturer nodded once. "That's noted," and continued packing his notes. The American waited. For explanation. For discussion. Perhaps a small philosophical debate. None came. Grades were posted later that week. Unchanged. Unmoved. Entirely uninterested in feedback. The regret wasn't voicing disagreement. It was learning that not every opinion requests a reply. On a train journey, an American sat down in an empty seat and stretched his legs with satisfaction. A woman stopped beside him. "I'm afraid that's my seat." He glanced up. There weren't any signs. She showed him her ticket. Seat number. Carriage. Time. He shrugged. Plenty of room. She pressed a small button on the wall. A conductor arrived, calm as ever. "Checked both tickets." "Sir," he said gently, "you'll need to move." The American sighed. "This seems unnecessary." The conductor nodded. "But required." He stood. Moved along. No explanation. No lecture. The train carried on, perfectly content. The regret wasn't changing seats. It was realizing that comfort doesn't overrule structure, and sighing rarely alters timetables.